You know how sometimes a tiny spark sets off a wildfire? This was exactly that. It wasn't some big scandal or official statement. Nope, just one quick joke. 30 seconds of Colin Jost's typical SNL smirk and sarcasm. And suddenly, the internet exploded. And can we talk about how jokes aren't supposed to hurt this badly? This one sliced through Meghan's carefully crafted image like a hot knife through butter. People had long heard whispers, rumors, and even criticism, but a joke? That's something else. It's like the difference between a headline and a jab in the gut. When Colin dropped that line, it was less about laughter and more about unlocking a Pandora's box Meghan had been desperately trying to lock shut. And guess what? You could almost hear the sound of those locks snapping open as millions leaned in closer. Suddenly, the past wasn't just a shadow, it was glaring in the spotlight. Here's the real twist. The joke wasn't the problem, it was what it unleashed. Almost overnight, the Yacht girl rumor resurfaced, and this time, it wasn't some vague whisper in the background. An old photo emerged, luxury yacht, designer bikini, mystery woman who looked eerily like Meghan before the royal spotlight. Not blurry enough to dismiss, not crystal clear enough to prove, but perfect enough to ignite a frenzy. Timing? Impeccable. Deadly. You ever notice how the universe loves drama that fits just right? This photo wasn't just a picture. It was a time capsule, a symbol of a life Meghan tried to rewrite but couldn't quite erase. And the internet? It's like a shark smelling blood. Once they got a whiff, they circled harder than ever. The yacht wasn't just a boat anymore. It became the battleground for Meghan's reputation. Now, if you ever wanted to see a full-on digital witch hunt, Reddit and TikTok turned into the perfect crime scene investigators. Bracelets, shadows, angles of the sun. Suddenly, everyone was an expert detective analyzing every pixel like their lives depended on it. And can we just admit how wild it is that social media turns people into sleuths overnight? No detective badge needed, just a thirst for drama. Was it Meghan or wasn't it? The actual truth doesn't even matter anymore. Momentum is the name of the game online, and once the scent of mystery hits, it snowballs. Everyone wants the next clue, the next detail, and it feeds into itself like an endless rumor machine. The internet isn't just a place for gossip. It's a pressure cooker where stories get hotter and steamier with every minute that ticks by. We've all seen Meghan get flack before. Too dramatic, too American, too ambitious. Those are the easy criticisms, the ones you can brush off with a sarcastic tweet or a well-timed PR stunt. But a meme? That's a whole different beast. You can argue facts. You can threaten lawsuits. But laughter? You can't sue sarcasm. When the world starts laughing at you instead of debating you, it's not just a slip of the crown. It's a full-on disappearance act. And here's the irony. Memes don't need facts. They don't care about the truth. They reduce you to a punchline, a caricature. And once that happens, your image isn't just cracked, it's shattered. Meghan's brand wasn't just criticized, it was ridiculed. And in the digital age, ridicule spreads faster than rumors ever could. You have to admit, Meghan's transformation was nothing short of a masterclass in rebranding. From cable actress to duchess to international humanitarian, it was a narrative people wanted to believe in. The green juices, the motivational quotes, the carefully curated social media posts. It was seamless, almost too smooth. You ever get that feeling when something's just a little too perfect? Like a movie with no plot holes? That's exactly what happened here. Because perfect rebrands are fragile. People don't just trust flawless. They start digging underneath. They want to find the crack, the real story behind the mask. And once they do, the whole thing starts to unravel. Meghan's image was like a luxury brand, aspirational, polished, and filtered, but the higher the pedestal, the harder the fall when cracks begin to show. What made Colin's joke so devastating wasn't the laugh, it was the precision. Think of it like a sculptor chiseling away at a statue, each small tap weakening the foundation. His line didn't scream accusations, it whispered implications. It nudged, suggested, and gave the audience just enough breadcrumbs to follow straight into the heart of the mystery. And isn't that the worst kind of exposure? When you don't get blasted with facts, but rather haunted by possibilities. That kind of subtle jab makes people curious, suspicious, and hungry for more. The joke itself wasn't the problem. The avalanche of questions it triggered was. Colin didn't just make people laugh. He made them think, and in PR, thought is often more dangerous than outrage. Then, as if on cue, the digital archives opened wide. Old blogs, forgotten forums, anonymous threads suddenly lit up like neon signs. Photos of yachts, parties, and hush-hush events surfaced like evidence in a trial. And here's where it gets darker. One thread even hinted at ties between Meghan and controversial figures like Epstein and Prince Andrew. No hard proof, just enough implication to fan the flames. You know how powerful implication can be? In today's world, hinting is nearly as destructive as accusing. It's a weapon wrapped in mystery, making people fill in the blanks with their worst assumptions. Suddenly, Meghan's past wasn't just a story. It was a carefully constructed maze, and everyone wanted to find the exit, no matter the cost. Usually, Meghan is quick on the comeback. Lawsuits, interviews, cryptic Instagram posts. But this time, crickets. Total silence. And here's the kicker. In Scandalland, silence isn't golden. It's a red flag. People don't interpret silence as strength. They see it as guilt, avoidance, or worse, something to hide. If the yacht photo was fake, why not say so? If the joke was unfair, why not call it out? The absence of a response just gave the rumor mill fuel to keep turning. Silence created a vacuum that curiosity and suspicion rushed to fill. And that vacuum? It sucked Meghan's narrative right out from under her. When you don't speak, people make their own story, and usually, it's not one you want. Meanwhile, Colin didn't even flinch. No apologies, no backtracking. Because here's the thing, this story wasn't his to carry. It was Meghan's. And every hour that passed, the narrative grew bigger and darker. More jokes, more memes, more conspiracy theories. And Meghan? Still silent, still stuck. Online silence feels like surrender, especially in a world where every second counts. It's like watching someone drown while the lifeguard looks away. Colin moved on to the next joke, the next sketch. Meghan? She got trapped in a loop of damage control that never came. And can we talk about how brutal that is? To watch someone's brand slowly erode while the world waits for a lifeline that never arrives? But this isn't just a TikTok drama anymore. Hollywood's paying attention. Not the fans or gossip blogs, but the people behind the scenes. The brand managers, publicists, event planners. The ones who make or break careers. And their verdict? Risky. Rumor has it Meghan was pulled from a major speaking gig. Not for anything officially confirmed, but because the word on the street was too much baggage. In the world of celebrity, reputation isn't just about truth. It's about perception. And if perception turns toxic, doors close fast. You could be talented, charming, even royal adjacent. But if your brand spells trouble, the industry moves on. And isn't that the real heartbreak? When your own team starts to see you as a liability rather than an asset. Here's a hard truth about Hollywood. Unpredictability isn't glamorous. It's unbookable. Meghan's whole edge was that she crossed two worlds, the regal and the celebrity. That's rare. That's power. But power only works when people can count on you. When you become a question mark, an enigma no one can pin down, that power fades. Suddenly, you're not edgy, regal, or reliable. You're just a risk. And in business, risk equals loss. When nobody knows who you really are, when your story keeps changing, people stop betting on you. The danger? Becoming a cautionary tale rather than a headline. And can we admit, that's the slowest kind of death for a public figure. Meghan didn't just build a public image. She crafted a luxury brand, polished, aspirational, carefully edited. But here's the catch with curated personas. One crack, and the whole facade crumbles. You can't sell empowerment if people think you're just editing out the hard parts. It's like selling a cake with a beautiful frosting, but a rotten center. People want the real story, even if it's messy. And now, they're not just questioning Meghan's past. They're questioning the entire package, the authenticity, the message, the trust. Because once the foundation cracks, every carefully placed brick looks shaky. And in the age of transparency, shaky isn't good enough. Now it's a meme frenzy. Her old blog posts turn into jokes. Her speeches spliced into yacht-themed parodies. Podcast hosts calling her the queen of reinvention with amnesia. It's not just about a photo anymore. It's about erasure. The idea that Meghan wants us to buy into a fairy tale while conveniently deleting the prologue. And memes? They don't just entertain. They rewrite the narrative in shorthand, turning complex stories into punchlines. For Meghan, this viral mockery isn't just embarrassing, it's existential. Because memes don't forget, and once you're the butt of the joke, it's hard to come back. It's like being stuck in a never-ending rerun where the punchline never changes. And the fairy tale? It's unraveling. Even loyal fans aren't attacking. They're pausing, hesitating, holding their breath, waiting to see what happens next. That silence from defenders is deafening. Because in media, when even your staunchest supporters go quiet, you're halfway canceled. The story isn't over, it's in limbo. And limbo is the worst place for a public figure. It's where hope fades, rumors solidify, and uncertainty becomes the new normal. Meghan's once shimmering narrative is now under intense scrutiny, and no amount of PR polish can fully repair a fractured myth. It's a reminder, when the foundation cracks, even fairy dust can't hold the castle up. So what now? Here's the harsh truth. No amount of spin can outrun a past the internet won't let go of. You can't outpace memes or silence the echo chamber. Meghan didn't just get exposed, she got unmasked. And here's the real danger. When people realize the version they bought, the shiny, empowered fairy tale Meghan, was just marketing, the illusion shatters. And once illusions break, there's no sequel, no second act, just a shelf. It's the endgame many celebrities fear, becoming a footnote, a cautionary tale about the limits of reinvention. So yeah, Meghan's story isn't finished, but it's definitely entering its most unpredictable chapter yet.